Hello, everyone. Before we continue, I would like to let everyone know that I am not a medical doctor. I'm not a spiritual master or an expert of any kind. I'm just a country pumpkin sharing his theoretical perspective for entertainment purpose only. And the topic for this entertainment is begging for alms. This has to do with Buddhism, if people are not aware. First off, it's a misconception and it needs to be fact-checked. Chances are this is another theory within theory. Buddha never begged for alms. He went around sharing information. But the power to be that created the organization, the religion itself, created a nice story for people to follow. Just like other religion, the people that created those religion has an agenda. Just like Christ was not a Christian, nor was Buddha a Buddhist. Right. So every religion has its own narrative to direct the sheeple, the ignorant people, to follow blindly what you call spiritual teachings of the sages. But in reality, all we are practicing is propagandas that's written by some man or woman or unknown person. So what we are worshiping is not Christ or Buddha. In this case, Buddha himself. We are worshiping the guy that wrote that scriptures, that book, or all those teachings that have been passed down, because those information has not been fact checked yet for its correctness. The truth, it is being accepted as it is. So back to the begging for alms. Speaking from the perspective in where it is practiced in Vietnam, people are going around. Well, there are not that many people because it's not common in Vietnam, but they're doing it saying it is correct. If it is one way, according to them, one way to practice the teachings of Buddha. But the problem is that the whole religion itself is creating a superstitious, ignorant environment where as long as you shave your head and put a robe on, well, I just shaved my head. I got no robe, no organization to back me up. So I'm still becoming a nobody. But if you put that robe on, then you suddenly become, wow, an enlightened spiritual master. And people just go kowtow in front of you and look at you like some kind of holy God, holy man, because Buddhism has created that environment, and they love that environment because it feeds the ego very well. Instead of saying, "Oh crap, I'm a nobody," but now I shave my head, put in this robe, and people worship me and give me food. I put in a bowl in front of me, and they just give me a ton of money. Oh my God, this is heaven! I don't need to go anywhere else. This is heaven. And no way in hell, no pun intended, that that ego is not going to get any smaller. They're going to inflate their head more and more. So the fact that what they're doing, they create that environment for people to follow and just blindly worshiping, and they blowing up the concept that that's what begging for alms is like, giving people the opportunity to begin the path of cultivation, of being learning compassion and understanding, trying to drive up the value of their existence, that they're not So people don't recognize they are more parasitic, leeching on people, ignorance, fear. There are many ways. Well, let's go back to that topic and continue. What basically they all this PR, they push how grand a monk is in his job, what he's doing for society as a whole. It's a very big job of trying to teach people compassion and give them an opportunity to be enlightened and walk a spiritual path. I'm sorry, but life in 21st century, we have 1,000,000,001 ways to be compassionate without having the guy to shave his head on the robe telling you, teaching you. A nice and healthy person wouldn't leech of society, become a burden to society, and competing and stealing this resource from people less fortunate than them. They the one that need to thank the people, to feed them, to give them the opportunity to learn. That they abandoned when they shaved their head and joined a monastery, a temple. Because those situations are freely given every day in life. It's, it's freely given. It's created for us in every environment, every situation. And begging for alms, like I say earlier, there are so many ways of going about doing it that add value to society instead of leeching from society. And that organization that they belong to leeches from society instead of being self-sustaining. They can self-sustain, grow their own food, provide education for the poor, teach them English, educate themselves. But what they do spend their time on? Propaganda, brainwashing people, instead of being self-sufficient, instead of adding value to society, instead of fake teachings of ascension mechanics. Providing an environment where people being superstitious and ignorance and giving away their power and leeching off of them instead of providing a sacred place for people to go and connect within themselves and connect directly to source instead of going to a middle guy like a monk, a priest. They are there to foster the environment, not to be the middleman. Middleman needs this to survive. So the problem that I have with those begging for arms in Vietnam has been some manipulated, very highly manipulated by the media to polish the plaque, the title, to herd people back into Buddhism when they're very dissatisfied with so many monks leeching up from people from we call tiền cúng đường, donation money. All they do, everything they do is to get that money, and the lifestyle shows it. Luxurious lifestyle, just like all the priests in the West. You haven't found a poor priest yet, unless he's at the bottom of the food chain. So begging for alms, if you're doing it as part of your belief that it is what Buddha taught, fine, no problem in your personal experience of trying to find a way to ascend, to find yourself, to overcome your weaknesses, that's fine. But when you start hiding behind an organization, then it's become a problem. Then you become a tool for the organization to support it, to foster that environment and continue that scam, the Ponzi scheme. Because Buddhism, like all the other religion, is the biggest Ponzi scheme ever. It scam people straight in their face. But people are so brainwashed to follow blindly without questioning it and accept it as a part as a normal part of life. Because they've been brainwashed upset to believe that it was Buddha himself actually was the first one to go to beg for alms, which he didn't. It's create an environment where people become disempowered. You become a burden to society, a leech, instead of people being empowered, self-sufficient, self-reliant. It create a victimized environment, but it is dressed in what they call Deb Dao, pretty teachings, love and light stuff, where I am doing great service to humanity by providing them with an opportunity to be passionate, to seek within themselves, to give away their fear, their greed, to let them be less greedy by sharing what they have, by creating those teach and learn scenarios, give and take scenario. Those are what you call in the West snake oil, from those salesmen selling you snake oil with those concepts, with ideology that to mask away what they're trying to achieve. And I hope the Vietnamese people, the people in the Buddhist community, stop buying snake oil from those salesmen, those middlemen that try to connect you and God, which we don't need. We always had that connection. We don't need no middleman to teach us what is right and wrong. What we have, all of us have inherent into every person, a conscience. People are born inherently good. It is true upbringing that change our nature, but compassion or compassionate nature, it is a given to at least for most people anyway. Most people are born compassionate. It's not something that you need to be taught how to be compassionate. And we all were born with a conscience. We don't need somebody to teach us how to use it unless we have walked the path number 2 for so long that we have forgotten, and we need someone to remind us. And we have a lot of people in society can do that job without having to depend upon an organization that feed on fear and superstition. Okay, thank you, everyone.